We set out to build the world's fastest Jaguar F-Type SVR. But some things didn't go quite to plan.
So my car's a little broken, my battery's gone flat and I can't get in it because the one key I have, the blade seems to be not fitting this door. So, I mean, the blades do kind of come separate, so I don't know if some point, somewhere, someone has mixed the blades up and given me the wrong one, or has it had the door lock change? I don't know.
Some problems required creative solutions. Others weren't quite so easy.
Oh, this is getting frustrating. Wow, difficult. It must be able to work.
But when things went right,
Now, the first job I'm going to be kickstarting this series with is an active air brake rear spoiler. Not something that's available for these cars yet, but it's something we're developing in-house and it will soon be available for you guys. In fact, everything we're going to feature on this project development car, you guys will be able to purchase. So as standard, the SVR comes with this active spoiler and it goes up and down slightly. It goes up around 70 miles per hour and down around 50 miles per hour unless you decide to control it yourself using this button in the center console, which is that one there. Now that's kind of cool, but I think we can make it even cooler and give it even more functionality by turning this into an active air brake. Now, if you don't have an SVR spoiler because your car is just a normal F-Type R or F-Type S or another edition, well, we actually sell the kit that can give you an SVR style active real carbon fiber rear spoiler. So you can install that and then you can install the air brake function if you wish. First, I need to strip some of the tailgate or trunk or boot, some of the interior trims and carpets to access the wiring that goes to the tailgate. Right, there's the tailgate or trunk compartment interior stripped out, so it looks like that. There's the bits I've taken out, all the carpets and trims. It's not too bad really. The only tools I've used is a T30 and a little lever bar. Well, it's kind of a long lever bar, but you don't need a long lever bar. The T30 was to undo the luggage hooks that sit around here, drop down the headlighting slightly also, and take these covers down or unclip them down. They unclip on this back edge here, and then the front edge they've got those hooks if you can see them, so it's kind of back end down first, unhook it and then they'll drop down. But I'll expose under here these little T30 bolts, just one on each side, one that side, one that side. And then the only other thing stopping the headlining coming down is this. Now, for those of you that don't know, I used to work at Jaguar Land Rover building show cars and movie cars and prototypes and stuff like this, and this is the infamous yellow clip. All the headlinings on the JLR products seem to have this type of clip, and they break every time you go to lever it down with a lever bar. But the good news is you can replace them. So because we plan on shipping this spoiler kit, air brake spoiler kit globally, so you guys might want to install at home or at another garage or whatever, I think we're going to include a new clip in the kit because it's going to break. They just always do. And then there's a couple of like magnets. I don't know if you can see them there on those brackets and stuff. And then the headlining will just gently come down. And that's enough to get to the wiring to our tailgate. So the wiring on this side is for the heated screen and aerials and stuff like that. You don't need to do that one. The wiring on the left is for the active spoiler and the number plate lights. So it's the wiring on the left here, which goes to that plug just there, if you can see it. Those are the ones we're going to be playing with. Now, unfortunately, Jaguar, on their tailgates and their doors, they make every single wire black. No numbers, no colours, they're all just black. So that's really handy for when you're trying to look at a wiring diagram and know what wire does what. But don't worry, I'm going to make it easier for you guys because those wires go straight to a plug. The plug, if you use a magnifying glass or you've got mega eyesight, will have little numbers on them. That will allow us to identify what wire does what, so we know what wire to wire into to wire up our active air brake function. I said the word wire a lot of times then. Right, I've just wired up that. All of this lot here. It's taken a bit of time, but this is the prototype, if you like. First ever one. So I'll see if I can wire this end into the car and get it to work as an air brake function. We're going to supply the kit with a load of these, basically. I think it's probably the most novice-friendly way to splice into wiring rather than soldering. I can't expect them to do that. These, you cut the wire, strip it, and then crimp them in with one of these. You can get these fairly inexpensively. And then, if you want, you don't have to, but you can heat these up, and then it will shrink around the wire to seal it. Of course, it's inside the car anyway, so it doesn't really need to be weatherproof, but you can if you want. Obviously, the issue with that is if you're heating up the wire, you don't want to go melting other things nearby, like foam, boot carpet, other wires, anything else. So, yo, just wanted to throw a little clip in here, guys. I'm trying to locate a proper plug connector, so it's plug and play for you guys. Just a unclip, plug in, easy peasy, job done. So you haven't got to locate the correct wires and then use the little crimp thingies like I'm doing in this video. Remember, this is the first ever one. It is on our prototype development car, but the finished product will be a lot easier for you guys to install at home. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Alright, let's install it. So we're going to be wiring up these wires here. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Yeah, 5 that are going to end up wiring into the plug near the hinge on the left hand side of the car. A bit further along the loom there's the negative and positive as well. So the negative, the black wire, of course, we're going to go straight to an earth point. There's loads of places you can earth it. That's an actual earth for the car anyway, so you could go onto that, you could go onto that. That's another one. There's all sorts of spare threads available, as long as you're screwing onto shiny metal of the car. There, then we're good. And now the positive is going to come with a special fuse that splices into the original fuse box that's there, if you can see that, and that'll allow you to remove a fuse, pop this special fuse splice box in, and it will retain the original fuse circuitry all in there, but it will have then a spur off it that runs an additional fuse for our active spoiler box. Now the active spoiler box I've just mounted here. Again, there's loads of like spare threads and different places you can mount it. Now I think we're going to release these preset with 1.5 seconds delay, so that means when you press the brake pedal the spoiler will deploy, but 1.5 seconds afterwards. Because if we don't have this delay, every time you touch the brake pedal for a second, the spoiler's going to want to do this. So if you go brake off, the spoiler's going to start doing all this, and it's just going to wear things out and stuff like that. It'll work needlessly. Right, I've got a torch, so hopefully you can see a bit better. But if I flex the headliner down, then this is the plug I'm going for here. There we are, that plug. So as you can see, where it goes to the tailgate, all the wires turn black, but on the other side, they are actually coloured. Okay, so I'm going to unplug this. There it is. So now I've got a little bit more flex, and we're going to be tapping into these wires here. It has actually got little numbers next to each pin. So we're going to use them numbers to know which wire does what and what we're going to tap into. Oh, this is getting frustrating. Wow, difficult. It must be able to work, it must do, but I've had a couple of different attempts at wiring diagrams now, and yeah, first and second time round, it's not happening. It's got to work, surely. It's got to work. The following day, we went to progress with some further work and development on this car, but then we ran into an unforeseen problem. Oh. Okay. We seem to have a flat battery. Nothing. It's emergency keyblade time, I think. So there's a little slot in the door here below the handle. Right, just gotta access it through there. Slot this thing in. That's a bit stiff. Oh, come on. Right. Well, that's just broke. Plan B. Some more of these. Nom 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 nom. Alright, let's see what we've got. Clamp them gently. Take two. Alright. But, I'm not sure this wants to turn. Don't want to force it and break it. I don't think this is the key for the car. No wonder I've just broke the tab off it. It doesn't want to turn. I've now got these grips on it, and it still doesn't want to turn. Now, I've had to open these cars a bunch of times, being that we work on these Jaguars quite a lot, and you don't have to apply that much force. So that if I go further than that, I'm going to break the key in the barrel or something. It's not very old. This shouldn't be like seized or anything. They don't typically seize up on these because they're quite well hidden. I've only got one key for the car. Great. 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 So my car's a little broken. My battery's gone flat and I can't get in it because the one key I have, the blade seems to be not fitting this door. So I mean, the blades do kind of come separate, so I don't know if some point, somewhere, someone has mixed the blades up and given me the wrong one, or has it had the door lock change? I don't know. To add to the problems, note the car's position. That purpley blue one up there, I need to put that one back together today, and now there's my one stuck underneath it. Because it's Monday, isn't it? It's Monday morning, that's what it is. Okay, I'll have a brainstorm. How am I going to get into this car? Right, sports fans, I've got a plan. So, I believe the battery on these is in the trunk, or the boot. And then there's some thick positive wiring that goes out the trunk, underneath the car to the engine bay, to the alternator, starter motor and fuse boxes and things like that. So the positive wire is somewhat external underneath the car. So I'm going to try and jack the car up, see if I can access that and see if I can probe into it and give it some 12 volt power, just enough to click the central locking button and open the car so then I can properly jump start it and charge the battery and stuff. It's gonna work. All right, here we go. Be safe, guys, and never rely on just a hydraulic jack alone to hold up the car whilst you're working on it. Get yourself at least one other stand. I'm using an axle stand here to support it, because that could drop, it could slip, anything can happen. You always need a backup. Okay, let's see what's underneath. Do you want to come with me? Yeah. Oh, is that it? Is that it? I think it's right here. Hang on, let me show you. I think that's it right there. When it's all the way down the car. Yes, now I was going to sort of cheekily spike into that, but I'm not going to do that. I realise that is another point. There is another point. Oh, if I can get to it though. And it's behind this wheel. I'm going to take the wheel off. And should be around there. See that red cover is? That is a positive connection. I just need to sort of unclip it somehow. Bear with. Scrap that, we're on plan C or something now. I found another one, it's easier to get to. And it's right there. That's the connection. A bit rusty though, isn't it? I think I might put a new connector on there while we're here. That's not particularly how I want a nice electrical connector to look. Rusty. So I think while we're here, we'll probably chop them off and crimp some nice shiny new ones on to give it a bit of extra life. Because it is in the wheel arch. I know it's got that little plastic cover on it, but it's not watertight, sort of semi-splash proof, right? So I think we'll replace it with some new shiny ones, and I'll probably like cover it in grease to protect it, and then put the plastic cap back over the top. Right, I've got next door and I've borrowed their booster jumper starter pack thingy, whatever you want to call them. I do actually have one myself, but it's currently in the boot that I can't get into. Oh well, handy neighbours. Right, let's give it a go. All grips on, make sure they don't touch any metal of the car, else we will have some sparks. Right, then this one, I don't know, maybe the shiny brake disc or wheel nut. Woo! Did a thing. And there we are. Probably one of the weirdest sort of jump starts, if you want to call it that, I've ever done. So now I can get in here. He says, please open, please open, come on. Yay, there we are. And there's mine, see? And that's where the battery lives. So I think I'll put that on charge for a bit, and while I wait, maybe lunch. Right, that's the battery on charge. I'm going to leave that charging, go for some lunch, come back. I think I'll get Alex to start rebuilding the purple one on the ramp there. That's having some supercharger maintenance, along with some other stuff. So we're rebuilding the supercharger and giving it a level 2 tune and stuff. But of course, we've sort of got past our problem as a temporary measure, but I think we've got a bigger problem here, as in I need to get this sorted, because we've only got one key for this car, and we've got one blade that doesn't seem to turn the door lock, so that's not going to be very good. So I am going to get some blades cut to that door lock, 2 of them, and then I'm going to get a second remote key, and I'm going to program that to the car as well, so it's got a full set of keys. The thing is, with these cars from a certain year, including this one, you can't just reprogram new keys. Jaguar only let you program 2 keys the very two keys from the factory. Where the other one's gone, I don't know. It's meaning if I want to program any more, I have to replace the KVM. That stands for Keyless Vehicle Module. It's another couple of £100. I have to install it, program it, and then it allow me to program more keys. So I finally got the spoiler to do what I want it to do, which is deploy the spoiler when the brake pedal is pressed and stow the spoiler when the brake pedal is released. We've got a timer function on this as well, so I was planning on putting a second or so delay on it, which means it will only deploy when you have a long brake pedal pressed rather than a short one. It may need it, it may not, but the timer's adjustable, so we can have a play with that later on. The problem why we couldn't get it to work properly initially was the wiring all within this box, basically. So that's all sorted now. Every kit that we produce will be wired correctly in there, and the wires that come out of it is the only ones that you'll have to install using some crimps like that, and the wires will come clearly labelled to what pin of the original vehicle wiring loom you are tapping into. I know it looks all complex, seeing lots of different wires and stuff everywhere, but most of the wiring has been retained inside that box that's all pre-wired. You don't have to worry about that whatsoever. It'll just be a handful of wires coming out the box, clearly labelled and easy to do, and we'll probably do a separate video that comes with the kit on how to actually do the installation as well. But yeah, it took me some hours. It won't take you guys that long. I've done the donkey work here, don't worry about it. And the next bit is trying to get this spoiler to work at a more extreme angle, so it works as more of an air brake rather than just something that gives a little bit of extra downforce. While we're there, we've got a little addition to add as well. We're going to replace this tailgate piece with a real carbon fibre one, so I think that's going to look pretty smart. This is one of our standard geometry brackets that we engineer, so if you've got a regular F-Type R and you want an SVR style spoiler, you're going to need to change the brackets for these ones, and it gives that kind of motion. So the spoiler kind of comes out and up a little bit at a more of an angle, like so. And then here's our modified ones for the air brake function. Similar thing, the different geometry, and as you can see, it goes at much more of an extreme angle. So if you buy one of our spoiler kits, these will come painted. Obviously these are kind of prototype stage at the moment. These ones are mid-production, they're finished but yet to be painted, so they will come in black. This is just bare steel and aluminium at the moment. Alright, so here's our original kind of base plate and motor mechanism. These have got the sort of Jaguar's own SVR brackets on there. You can see ours are a little bit more substantial, a little bit beefier, but we're going to be cutting these off because they got these weird like crimp things on there, so we're going to be cutting them around here, unbolting them here, and bolting our new ones on, and basically welding the axles together for a solid fix because we haven't got these weird crimp things. But cutting and welding, simple process, got to get them aligned, and then we'll pop it on the car and see how it does. And for me, you might want one as well. There you go. Well, a little other than expected. Okay. Really? Plan B. Now I have a flat bit to hopefully grip. They were tight for a little bolt, blimey. It out. Hey, one bracket off. Good. I've decided to get one of the lads to paint them black before I put them on. They're prototypes and I wasn't going to, but I have a feeling once these are on, they're actually going to stay on for some time. So that's like how you'll receive them in black. Right, let's do it. Time to weld them on. Now, it's welding time. Time to feed the pigeons. If you don't get that joke, by the way, bad weld looks like pigeon poop. It's going to be none of that today. Alright, crucial bit when you weld these. So this is how I've got it. If you can see that on the camera, welding the new bracket to the original axle crimp. And there's a little gap which I'm filling with this nut. That's going to give me a nice area to weld to. Basically, the two brackets need to be in exactly the same position. Otherwise the spoiler's going to operate wonky. No thanks. It's pushed all the way down, so that's fully deployed the bracket that side. All the way down. Fully deployed bracket that side. Okay, with some decent taps on there. I'm going to weld it around a bit more than that yet, but I'm just going to check for doing even more welding, making it really, really solid, that moves as it should. I've now got a slot for my 17mm spanner, and I can turn and test the mechanism. I don't know how to say this without looking a bit pants, but the other side didn't weld and it's broken off. Yeah, I only tacked it though. The idea is, once I'm happy with it, I'm going to weld it all the way around. I just tacked it, the tack broke, so I'm going to have take two and report back in a minute. I'm back, all is well. Now we can check that both brackets are moving exactly the same time, which they are. If I get my spanner in, there we are. Right, so now I'm happy with that. I'm going to weld it all the way around. Get it done. It looks something like that basically, if you can see that, and you can still get a spanner on there if you do it neat enough, which is nice. Yeah, underside looks fine. I'm probably gonna put a bit of paint on this just to stop it corroding. It's not really subject to water, but of course still there's moisture in the air and stuff, so. Well, of course, always with brand new developments you run into issues. A couple of issues. So we've got the electronics working, we've got these brackets working so they come up nearly vertical, which is great, but now the tailgate base plate doesn't fit all the way back in its position because the brackets that it slots over, the active brackets, have moved position. Now that's not the end of the world because we're going to supply this kit with a nice carbon base plate anyway. I feel that I could potentially modify this original one, but I'd rather just take it off, keep it to one side as an original part. I will install our carbon fibre one that will supply, that I believe we'll be able to modify so this fits exactly where it should. It's not far off, but it's about 8mm too far back, so we've got like too much of a big gap here and stuff. Anyway, that's problem number one. Problem number two is when the active spoiler deploys, of course it wants to tip up vertically. Now, what it wants to do is when it tips up vertically, is contact the body of the car. Oh, So somehow we've got to raise it back here, which I believe we can do with some intermediate bracketry here, meaning the spoiler will sit further back in its normal stowed resting position, which I actually think is going to look really cool. So from standard, they sit there like that. I propose we're going to sit it sort of there like that, which I think actually looks nicer and more aggressive. And I believe these intermediate brackets that we'll engineer, I'll be able to offer those as a little extra, even if you've just got like a normal SVR and you want the spoiler in a different position. So you can buy it on its own, or it comes part of the air brake kit, if that makes sense. Next thing, let's try and get carbon base plate installed. And this one, I don't know, maybe on eBay. Alright, check this out. So this is our new carbon fibre tailgate piece. It's real, handmade carbon fibre, very, very lightweight. And that should pop onto here. Okay, that's getting closer. And then comes with these. They're separate at the moment, and they pop on here. Now, the hole for them is deliberately slightly too small, and then you can file this out, basically, so that bracket goes bang in the middle of this, because that's where you want it. So, yeah, I think that's going to fit. I've got the ability to go slightly further back in standard. The end objective is to have that bracket in the middle of the carbon upright piece, something like that. Alright, I'm going to screw this to the tailgate, because it's just loose at the moment, using the 4 bolts underneath. I'm going to file that where I want it, and then I'm going to glue it to hold it there permanently. But, yeah, I like that. That's looking nice. So yeah, super glossy, handmade, real carbon fibre base plate. You could paint it body coloured if you want, but this car's got a lot of carbon on it anyway, so I quite like seeing the carbon. It's not a massive piece still, even though it's for the tailgate. There's only a small area there. I think I might wrap this bit here in either black or grey, or I've even got some paint protection film that looks like real carbon fibre, even when it's next to real carbon fibre like that. So I may offer a bit of that up just to sort of delete this triangle, which isn't too offensive. I think with the spoiler on as well, it's going to look quite cool. The spoiler's got triangular bits on the end. These have got triangular shapes, they're like horns. But at the same time, I do think that if that was dark grey or black, then it's going to carry on the line of the tailgate into the black tinted rear window, into the black tinted panoramic roof, and well, this bit's painted black from factory as well, so that's probably going to be a bit more fitting, I think. It's time to make some prototype spoiler extension brackets from this piece of aluminium. This will do for now, and then we'll take some measurements of it, put it into CAD, and then get them like either CNC'd or laser cut so they're nice and neat. Well, I think that needs adjusting, because that should cut very, very straight, and that is not very, very straight. Let's see how we're doing, shall we? So, these are our little prototype aluminium brackets, loosely bolted on. The real thing, obviously, we will most likely paint in black. I think we'll round the edges, and I may even do it in a thicker aluminium, maybe the same thickness as that, because that's a tiny bit thicker. But this is just what I had in stock on the shelf, so it's suitable to give it a test. You get a little test. Oh man, that is cool. That is some extreme angle on that. Oh, I like it. Got to put the base plate back on yet. I was just messing around with the brackets for now. Air brake, baby. Woo! Well, we're just in the process of making this prototype air brake spoiler for the F-Type, and it's going really well. It's taken some hours so far, but looking really promising. Slight issue with it in stowed mode. Yeah. Can you see the problem? It's getting late. I'm going to carry on tomorrow. Good night. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's a couple of little dinks in here. That's actually deliberate, okay? It's not a defect, it's to line up the badge, because the badge has pegs on it. So you could drill those out if you want. I tend not to. Personally, I tend to just shave the pegs off the badge and then plop them over these marks, and that is where the badge lines up. For you anoraks, I'm going to weigh these, the original piece and the carbon fibre tailgate piece, because I'm just surprised in the weight difference. I think it's pretty significant. Yep, 0 kilos. See what this one is? The original, 2 kilos. Get the other ones. Feels like it weighs nothing. Just shy of 1 kilo by the looks of that. So around half the weight. Oosh. Carbon tailgate on. Now it's time to install the spoiler extenders and finally the big carbon spoiler blade. Extendo bracketto! Harry Potter for extender brackets. Sounded funny in my head, I don't know. Anyway, here they are with some stainless Allen keys and some stainless anti-tamper bolts to follow. Time to pop these on. Alright, so the Allen key goes in there and the head's hidden in the recess, which is nice. And then with the air brake not on, these will be hidden anyway, so you won't be able to access these without deploying the spoiler, basically. I'm not going to fully tighten them yet. I'm going to get all my bolts in loosely before fully tightening them, so everything lines up how I want it. It also matters which way around you do them if you've got a recess here for the spoiler lugs to sit into. Yeah, okay. No biggie. Just 15 seconds of my life. That's all. There we are. Turn it around. Pop them in again. That was one of the best 15 seconds of my life. They are on loosely. Here it is. Right on. Beautiful. Yay. There we are. Slot in there. And then we'll get our anti-tamper screws in here. Maybe I should have had them ready before slotting it in. Yeah. Cool. Got them. Here's the stainless steel anti-tamper fixings. Then you need a special socket to insert and undo them. I'm not going to show you too closely for security reasons, but that goes in there. Normal Allen keys, normal Torx bits, stuff like that, they will not fit. Oh, I've got with this carbon, it's looking good. Pretty extreme, isn't it? So that's what it's going to look like with the air brake deployed. It does have a gap, for those who are wondering. And I am actually really liking the naked carbon fibre look. Reminds me of a big whale tail like the RS Cosworth or something, if you remember those. Well, the good news is we got the prototype working. And then we went ahead and installed our new product on this bright red F-Type SVR convertible. This car is known as Big Red Jag with a flag. And the owner decided to add a bit of a comedy factor into his new air brake spoiler.
Well, hope you've enjoyed this vid. Thanks for watching. Remember to click subscribe and all that jazz. If you need anything for your supercharged Jag, feel free to get in touch. info@wraptorcustoms.com. And most importantly, please remember, send news.